Welcome to 113 Racing. My name is Nate. A lot of people ask me, how do I afford to do what I do? I always complain about being broke, yet I seem to have money for welders, roll cage tube, cars, parts, etc. So in today's special, I'm going to run through what I do to afford my stupid ideas and what you can do to get into your first race car or second race car or whatever it is that you want. So stay tuned. Let's get into it. This is Side Hustles. Okay, so point one, side hustle one, lesson number one, whatever you want to call it, make your tools work for you. This is a specialized piece of kit. Not a lot of people can use it, even less people own it. When you do need it, it's expensive either to buy or to rent, or to hire a mobile welder to come around to your place is extremely expensive. I was hiring welders in my business and it became unfeasible. So basically I taught myself to weld. I bought myself a cheap welding machine and just practiced and got to the point where I was good enough that I could, make small things. So I was, making anything that I could make out of metal that was saleable, dog cages, dog kennels, those little portable chicken tractors that people like to put in their backyards that they can move around, etc. They're actually quite expensive things to buy. They're quite easy to make. Again, most people can't because they just can't weld or don't own a welder. So, with an angle grinder and a welder, I managed to make enough money to be able to buy, a really good welder and move into, more automotive-based fabrication stuff. And, that leads me again into things like this. So this is a tube bender. It is a very specialty product. This is about $2,500 worth of kit. Not only are they great for roll cages, but you can also use these for like four-wheel drive, like rock sliders, bull bars, that kind of thing, and tube frame chassis fabrication. These dies alone are like $700. Very specialized piece of kit, and that's currently the main breadwinner for me. When I don't have cars blocking my driveway, I'm measuring up for main hoops and bending main hoops and getting people going with their roll cages. I don't like building roll cages for other people because my workmanship's not great. I'm a bit slapdash, but as you can see, I can bend a tube to fit quite nicely. I can measure up, and I can basically form the tubes. It's just past that point, I really just don't give a damn. So, but this is highly specialized work, and anyone that's priced up a roll cage knows that they're sort of $3,000 to $8,000. So I can buy the tube, measure the car, bend it up, supply the bars to someone for much cheaper than that, and I can make a little bit of money on the side to be able to pay for that bender. So if you've got a skill that other people don't, whatever it is, whether it be something on the computer, programming or using programs, video editing, any of that kind of thing, any skill that is marketable to you that you can do in your spare time, which goes above paying your bills, put it into side hustles. Of course, no Australian car would be complete without a big ass hairy spider in it, so it's here. All right, so we're in the car now. We've evicted the spider. We've got our thirst trap, and this is basically point number two, and this is sort of more automotive based. It's a little bit more profitable, and obviously it's flipping or wrecking cars. So I swear these things find me now. I've been in the industry for quite a while in Peugeots, and obviously it's a very small community in Australia. The 206 community is even smaller. Very rarely does a 180 go up for sale somewhere in Australia that I don't know about, because I just get tagged in it all the time, or sent, or asked for advice in regards to its value, its sale price, whatever. So when things like this crop up, I hadn't even seen this one yet, actually. Like I said, a mate of mine found the deal, and he jumped straight on because he, like me, he knew the value of these cars, even statutory write-off and crashed ones. He knew the value of the parts in there, and he could smell some profit. And luckily enough, he tagged me into it, even though I really didn't have the space or the time or the want for it. I do need a little bit of money because the suspension on that car that I had, obviously I sold, and now I need a little bit more money because I'm getting better suspension, and hopefully this is my answer. So, as I said before, I'm in this car about $500, and now what can I sell to get my money out of that? Well, these seats are quite sought after. These are in really, really good condition. I've probably got, they normally go for 400, and these ones aren't perfect. However, they are getting really, really rare now. So I'm going to list them for 500 and see what I can get. I've got a standing offer of 350, but the guy who's offered me that, he doesn't really want them. He just, he needs a seat to move a car around, and he knows that he can get $400 for them when he goes back to sell them again. So I'm going to push for 500 and see how I go. May get it, I may not. The main thing on these is the wheels, though. These wheels are actually in really good condition. They've got a few little marks on them, but in terms of, a 20-year-old car, and especially in Sydney, these wheels are actually in really good shape. So again, they're another $400. I'm probably going to throw 500 on them as well and see how I go. The tires are no good, but anyway. These have got new dimpled brake rotors, front and rear. It's got Brembo pads in the rear. I think it's got EBC red stuff pads in the front. They look like EBC red stuff, and again, they're dimpled, slotted rotors in the front, so I can probably move them. The engine and the gearbox are quite hard to sell. There's not a lot of people in the market for those. The last one I saw had $1,000 on it. I think that was probably a bit optimistic. This is a strong engine, low kilometer example, and it's obviously very tight. It's only got that one little tiny oil leak down there. This one's actually going to be my spare engine and transmission, so I'm not going to be able to sell it, unfortunately, even though I would like the money. However, I kind of need spare parts more, and it's sort of my justification for stripping a perfectly good car. I could probably move this thing on for $1,500 as is, as a ongoing track project, and profit $1,000. But I think I can probably get $1,000 and an engine by stripping it down. And then obviously there's all the other good parts on it. So the spoiler's worth money. It's got an aftermarket exhaust on it, which is probably worth a little bit. But the catalytic converter, got an offer on that for $60 from a scrapper. Guards, bumpers. It's got new Bilstein front struts in it, which are worth some money. These little things like this here, these like to break. This one's in good condition, so it's worth a little bit of money. This little thing around here is exclusive to the GTI 180. That's worth a little bit of money. I could maybe sell that Schroth harness for a little bit of money. So I've definitely got my $500 back. Hopefully there's $1,000 in profit in this. Hopefully. All right. Well, it's not really a lesson or a side hustle. I just wanted to touch on how I got started, because getting started in side hustles is obviously the hardest part now. I got started out of necessity, really. I found myself with a lot of time on my hands and not a lot of money, and I didn't really know what to do with my life. So I just started doing odd jobs for people, just with skills that I had accumulated, over my working life. I was working a night shift job, which, just paid the bills, but left me with essentially most of the day in which to do other things. So I started, doing odd jobs, and I started accumulating specialist tools, which I could then use to do more odd jobs. And it actually turned into a quite profitable business. And I was just using, you know, this business. I was taking a bare minimum living wage out of it, reinvesting everything else into the business. And then I was, branching the business out from, all different areas. And as I've already told you the story about the trailer I was using, that was a business trailer, which was paid for by the business by using the trailer. And, part of that business was I needed things welded. I was hiring welders. I taught myself to weld. I bought welders and everything. So it's a very unique situation to me. However, it could be done by anyone. Obviously, you wouldn't have as much time during the day. It would be more weekends or evening work and probably take you a little bit longer. But also, if you had started much, much younger than I did, you would probably be in a much, much better place than I am right now. But it is accessible to anyone. You just need to accumulate a skill or a tool that someone else doesn't have and go from there. So I sold some old hobbies that I wasn't using anymore, some RC cars and planes and other things, just different bits and bots that I'd accumulated that, had value but no use to me, and I sold them and I invested them basically. It bought me my first track car, which again I've spoken about was my $1,000 challenge. I built that car, I sold it for a profit. I bought another car, built that car, sold that car for a profit. It kept going and kept going, and that's how I've gotten to a car that's now got about $15,000 in it, and I haven't actually spent a penny of my own money because everything has, been profit from other investments. Obviously, there's a lot of time. It's not free money. You're working for your money, and if you worked it out hourly, it's probably in the $5 to $10 an hour range, and you'd probably be better off going and getting a full-time job and paying someone else to build your car. But what's the fun in that, right?
Okay, so I haven't revealed anything revolutionary or mind-blowing here. All I've really told you to do is to work harder. But for me, it's more than that. It's a division of work and a division of finance. Division of work, like I could work harder in my job, do more hours and get paid more money, but my wage is family money. It goes to the family, it goes to all our bills and school fees and holidays and things like that. Whereas stuff I do on the weekend is less stressful, less exhausting than paid work. It's a hobby. I get paid to do a hobby, and it's what I'd be doing even if I wasn't getting paid. I don't have to work anywhere near as hard. I don't do hardly any hours. I only work a few hours on the weekend, and it's fun. It's relaxing to me. So it's different in that way, and also what I'm doing on the weekend is my money. So many years ago, my wife and I spoke to a financial advisor. I recommend you do the same. It's great, and this isn't financial advice at all. This is the advice that I was given, and that was basically that we needed a bit of our own financial freedom. So we set up accounts where 10% of my wage goes into an account for me, 10% of my wife's wage goes into an account for her, and that's money that is solely ours, our own. We can spend that indiscriminately. We don't need to ask permission. And my wife doesn't care what I do with that money because, the rest of my wage goes into the family, pays all the bills. And, as long as the bills are covered, I can do what I want. And that financial freedom has given me the ability to be able to do what I do. Now, early on in the piece, we weren't very financially well off. We were struggling. So my side hustle money was still being split, and I was putting some of that back into some of the bigger bills the family was incurring, and I was taking less of a cut for myself. As we've become more financial, I've been able to take a bigger and bigger cut to the point now where obviously 100% of my side hustle money is going back into side hustles. But the reason I bring it up is because that financial freedom is essential, and we did it more sort of as a psychological thing so that we could relax. We didn't have to discuss every single individual little purchase. We could have a bit of financial freedom. We weren't, tied down to a really strict budget, but at the same time, because that money was going to a separate account, then we couldn't just keep drawing on joint account money, and it limited our spending because we only had a certain amount of money, but it gave us the freedom to decide where that money went. But now obviously it's turned into more of what I do on the side. I basically call my business, even though it's not really a business. It is side hustles. But yeah, I have that financial freedom. If I make money from my allowance, it goes back into my allowance. It doesn't go back into the family fund. So that gives me the opportunity to be able to build race cars and be able to buy tools and be able to use those tools to make more money. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else more I need to say about that. Again, don't take it as financial advice. It's a situation that is unique to me and it works for us. It may not work for you. As I said, speak to a financial advisor, get your family or just your basic level of finances in check. Make sure all your bills are paid, and then all your side hustles can go back into more side hustles or whatever it is that you want to do. If you are struggling financially, I would also recommend looking into making money on the side. Again, it's not as profitable as paid work, but it's also not, like I said, not as stressful, not as exhausting. You can do sort of more in the time you have. It doesn't detract from my family time because when I'm out here working, the kids are doing what kids do or doing homework or whatever. My wife is doing whatever women do. I honestly couldn't tell you, but she's having, she's relaxing, the kids are relaxing, and I'm relaxing. My way of relaxing, obviously, is screwing around with shitty cars in a shed. I still spend plenty of time with the family because, like I said, I only do this for a few hours a day, or a few hours a week, sorry. I spend a lot of time inside because, a lot of my time is spent buying and selling things, which is obviously done on the internet. I also spend time inside video editing and that. So I get plenty of time with the family. We take holidays quite regularly now because we've got that sort of financial freedom. And I've got a bit of money on the side to be able to buy tools and shit boxes and entertain you guys. So I think it's about all the advice I can give you right now. So my advice is just to, start hustling. Thank you.